Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we are doing the top 5 convicts reactions sentenced to life. Number 1. This young man named Dylan was sentenced to life after beating his ex-girlfriend's young child to death. He can be seen crying in this video, but I'll have you know he had texted his mom before the court had started, telling his mom that he was gonna fake cry in court to get a shorter life sentence. But as you can tell, that didn't go as planned.
I can't take back what was done. I wish I could. I would give my life for Austin. I loved him a lot.
Austin Smith was completely defenseless. That's a given. But there were other dynamics at work there.
Austin, Ashley, I really didn't. I really think I did that. I didn't mean to hurt him.
Number 2. This young female was sentenced to life in prison for killing her then boyfriend. In his words, her boyfriend had said before his death, "Or don't be surprised if I show up dead one of these days," and that's exactly what had happened.
Fight for my life just like I did on June 4th, 2008, because I realized how selfish it would be for me to escape accountability for this mess that I've created. I have 2 brothers, 2 sisters, several nieces and nephews, a mom, a dad, 8 aunts, 9 uncles, over 20 cousins that I've grown up with, as well as countless friends, all of whom would suffer greatly if I took my own life or if I allocuted and begged for the death penalty and then got it. The most important thing I want to say is that I am very sorry for the enormous pain that I've caused the people that love Travis. I'm horrified because of what I did, and I wish there was some way I could take it back.
Court finds the defendant has no prior criminal history. The defendant has family and community support. The defendant has mental health issues. The court has also considered the defendant's childhood background. The court finds the mitigation presented is not sufficiently substantial to call for leniency and that a natural life sentence is appropriate. It is ordered the defendant shall be incarcerated in the Department of Corrections for the rest of her natural life with no possibility of parole.
Number 3. This next convict was a high school student sentenced to life in prison for killing and raping his 24-year-old teacher. He was sentenced to life in prison, but they sentenced him to 25 to life due to his age.
Philip Chisholm, on indictment number 2013-1446001. The jury, having returned a verdict of guilty of murder in the first degree on deliberate premeditation and extreme atrocity and cruelty, you will hearken to the sentence the court has awarded against you. The court, having duly considered your offenses, it is hereby ordered that you be committed to the Department of Youth Services until the age of 21, and furthermore committed to the Massachusetts Correctional Institution at Cedar Junction for the period of not less than 25 years and not more than life, and that you stand committed in execution of this sentence.
Number 4. This next convict was a teenage boy, singing in court begging for the cops not to take him away. He was crying, showing sympathy to the judge, but the judge had no remorse.
Oh, that's so bad! That's so bad!
18-year-old Fernando Salgado begs to get to go home.
Number 5. This horrible excuse of a man was sentenced to life for killing a young infant. There's many other things I cannot say on this list, but just watch the video if you want to know the rest.
Did you have the occasion to be working on your computer down there at the jail while you were talking to him?
I did.
And at some point in time, did Mr. McNabb tell you to look up?
He did.
And when you looked, where was he at in relation to you?
He was probably an inch or 2 away from the glass,
okay,
right in front of my face.
So were you separated by glass?
We were separated by glass.
And what did you see when he asked you to look?
He was wearing a turtle suit, which is something that prisoners are wearing when they're on suicide risk. And he wasn't wearing clothing under that, and he had pulled up the turtle suit and taken out his penis and was masturbating.
And did he masturbate to completion in your presence?
He did.
Thank you. Those are all the questions that I have.
No question, Judge.
I got a question. Can I address the court, please?
Okay.
I just got one thing I want to say, and that's it.
Excuse you from
I'd like to say it in front of her since she's the one accusing me.
I'm willing to allow you to talk when your time comes. And at time, you can say anything you want to. Is there any further evidence in offering of aggravation?
No, Judge.
Mr. Carter, do you have any evidence to offer in the way of mitigation?
I believe Mr. McNabb would like to address the court.
Okay, you may do so. You may stand up and address the court.
I'd just like the court to know, as well as everybody at home, since this is being broadcasted for whatever reasons, that I did have on a turtle suit and it velcros and it wasn't on properly and it didn't fit properly and the velcros were not on good because they don't stick because they've been used for so many years by so many different people, and I was not masturbating at all in front of her, period. The thing fell off when I stood up and that was it. There was none of that, and I would have liked to have told her that since she was the one making the accusation, since I'm pretty sure by the law states that I have a right to confront my witnesses who accuse me of doing wrong. So I felt like I wanted to say it in front of her since she was the one up here slandering me. And that's all I got to say.
You sure you don't want to talk about the sentencing and all of that? That was the only thing you wanted to tell the court?
I mean, I haven't heard anything about a sentence. I was just commenting on that. I understand
for the charges. And I just wanted to know if you had anything you wanted to say to the court.
I mean, I got a lot to say. I got a lot to say, but I'm not going to be able to say half of it.
I don't know, because I don't know what you're going to say.
I'm innocent. I didn't do it.
Okay.
I've maintained that the whole time. I feel like there was things that were allowed to be said that should have never been allowed to be said that didn't have nothing whatsoever to do with the case and what was being said. Just because somebody has domestic abuse issues with their spouse doesn't mean that they would put their hands on their kids, which has also been pretty much proved that I've never touched my kids in any harmful manner whatsoever. I've never harmed my kids. I didn't even hear anything that said that I had done anything to her in front of the kids. So that doesn't make sense either. And, you know, just to let the record show that I don't think I ever put my hands on her in front of those kids. And I just don't feel like just because somebody has domestic issues with the female in their life that they love, that they were just able to just say, oh, he don't love you and all that stuff just in front of everybody or whatever, which doesn't matter. But I just don't understand how you find somebody guilty of doing something to a 15-day-old baby because there was no evidence whatsoever that proved anything about me putting my hands on my kids. I've never done it. I never would. I don't believe in it. I was beat as a child, and I don't agree with it at all. And I would never do it. I would never do this. That's all I got to say. I would never do it. I'm innocent.
Well, I can make a lot of comments on what you said. I can make a lot of comments on the trial, but I know that was just be arguing with you or talking with you. I'll ask you one simple question. You claim you're innocent, so you tell me what sentence the man or woman that you claim did this should receive.
If you ever find out who did them, they deserve to be under the jail.
Okay. So they ought to get the maximum sentence.
Most definitely.
Okay. On the crime of malice murder, I sentence you to life in confinement without parole. On concealing the death of another, I sentence you to 10 years in confinement, consecutive or after. Count one. Do you understand each of your sentences?
Yes, sir.
I want to advise you that you have 30 days after today to file a notice of appeal.
It'll be filed.
On this case. I'm going to instruct Mr. Carter on behalf of you to file